Well, for one, I was born to upper middle class parents. I was born in Beverly Hills. I went to an incredibly good school district. I was able to get funding from my parents to help me with my education.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Genuinely glad you are here for this one because this might be one of the most thought-provoking conversations I have put on this channel in a while. So what we have here is a liberal speaker going head-to-head with a black conservative reverend, and they are getting into some of the deepest questions about race, opportunity, and what it actually means to succeed in this country. And I want to warn you right now, both of these men come in swinging. Nobody is holding back. Here is what I will say. If you tap out early on this one, you are going to miss the moment that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. So do yourself a favor and stay all the way through because the second half of this conversation is where things get really real. Also, I want to know, where in the world are you watching this from right now? Drop your city, your country, wherever you are. I love seeing how far this community reaches, and it always makes the comments section so much more alive. All right, enough from me. Let the two of them take it from here.
Like if you, for example, if you go to a better school, if your dad isn't locked up in prison, if you have more generational wealth, do you think these things increase the chance of you succeeding in the long term?
It does.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking, why don't you people recommend that black people get married and so they have good parents to guide them rather than putting them in a victim box and making them think that they can't make it and then using them to promote homosexuality, lesbianism.
Oh,
lesbian!
I defend lesbians on my own time. I don't need no blacks to do that.
So why do you people put the blacks in a box to use them rather than telling them, being honest with them about what they really
We can compromise on this.
I
love helping people.
And so you don't think that black conservatives should vote for Donald Trump?
Nah.
You don't think that?
I don't think anyone should.
You don't think that black conservatives should have their own minds to do what they want?
Oh no, they should be able to do what they want.
Do you think they should vote like the radical blacks who are voting for Democrats?
Absolutely.
So you don't think that black people, black conservatives, have the right to be individuals?
Oh no, they have the right, and I have the right to disagree.
And think and do for themselves.
Oh, they can totally do what they want. I have the right to complain about it.
So why are you putting them down for standing and being individuals?
It's not so much that I'm doing it for them being individuals. I'm putting them down for making bad decisions.
So you're saying blacks don't have the common sense to make good decisions for themselves?
A lot of people don't. I don't like.
How about the black conservatives? They don't have the common sense to make decisions for themselves?
I would say that being a black conservative pretty much like categorically means you don't have much common sense, yeah.
To make decisions for themselves?
Yeah, at least politically.
And that's why you call Candace Owens a Nazi?
Oh yeah. Oh, I love calling Candace Owens a Nazi. She's pretty, isn't she?
Because she's black, she doesn't have sense enough to think and do for herself?
Oh no, I call plenty of whites Nazis too, don't worry.
But Candace Owens is a conservative, and you just said conservative blacks don't have the common sense to think and do for themselves. So that's why you call Candace Owens a Nazi?
I think that a black Nazi probably is lacking some sense of self-preservation, but I call lots of folks Nazis, and I would say all conservatives probably lack in common sense.
As a black conservative, why is she one for have her own opinion?
I think that white Nazis are also bad.
I'm talking about Candace Owens now.
Oh, that she has every right to express her opinion. I have every right to call her very mean names for expressing those opinions.
Do you hate black conservatives?
I hate conservatives. Do I hate black conservatives?
How about black ones?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I do love all people, but I hate black conservatives and white conservatives.
Why do you hate black conservatives?
I hate all conservatives, but black conservatives, because they have the gall of being conservative while having experienced more apropos than any other group in this country what it means to be under the heel of a white supremacist state. It seems to me they're the ones who should have the greatest interest in voting against it.
This is the moment that stopped me cold, because what just happened here is not just a debate point, it is a full confession from the other side that they did not even realize they were making. The liberal asked something so straightforward, so grounded in basic logic: better schools, a father present in the home, generational wealth. Do these things help a person succeed? And the conservative said yes, just like that. Yes. You have to understand what that yes actually means, because the moment you admit that environment shapes outcomes, you have just validated everything the other side has been arguing for years. You cannot say yes to that question and then turn around and act like the playing field is even. You cannot say yes and then ask why certain communities are struggling. Those two positions cannot live in the same brain at the same time. And here's what people don't really think about, and this is not a new argument. After the Civil War, there was a brief period in American history called Reconstruction, where formerly enslaved people were actually building wealth, buying land, starting businesses, getting elected to office, and then it was systematically dismantled, not by accident, by policy. That history is documented. That is not opinion. And it proves that when the environment supports people, they thrive. When it is taken away, the outcomes change. So when the liberal pushed back on the idea of individual choice versus structural reality, he was not making excuses. He was making the case that outcomes are connected to conditions, and the opponent accidentally agreed. The part that really gets me is the Candace Owens exchange. The liberal said plainly that he has every right to criticize someone's political choices while still respecting their right to make them. That is not contradictory. That is how free speech actually works. You get to choose. I get to respond. That is the whole deal.
Do you believe that America has always been a white supremacist state?
Since day one.
How is it that when I was growing up, under the Jim Crow laws, on a plantation, that black people did better than they are today? They had families, they got married, abortion was unheard of, they bought land, they built businesses, they became professionals, they went to college, those that wanted to go, and they did very, very well. If America is a Nazi country, why were blacks able to do better then than they are today?
Because white folk got more clever. Yeah, back in the day, the way they discriminated against blacks, all on the books. Black people can't use this school, this water fountain. Nowadays, they're much more clever. Drug war, systemic deregulation of certain industries, stripping funds from ghettos. That way, you keep the blacks in line, but you do it without a single racist law in the books. And things have gotten worse, you're right.
What is wrong with black people that they allow themselves, because they were not like that prior to, after the civil rights movement. What is wrong with black people that they allow themselves to be kept in a certain place or used in that way today?
I don't think there's anything
because
wrong
they
with
did
them.
not allow that prior to the civil rights movement. What's wrong with them, the men and women in the black families and black community, that they allow that to happen to them today?
That's kind of like asking what a wife did to deserve getting beaten by her husband, don't you think? I don't think they did anything wrong. I think they were the victims of an abusive
But
system.
what is wrong with them that they can't overcome circumstances as everyone else are doing?
I mean,
what is
because
wrong
they're
with
targeted
the
against
blacks?
them.
What is wrong with them that they can't overcome the target against them?
It's because conservatives in government hate black people. So they very specifically target black people when they're looking for ways to
Do you
discriminate
hate black
against
people?
minorities. I love black people.
How are you able to do so well and they're not?
This is the part that blows my mind every single time I watch this exchange. The liberal made a point that I think a lot of people brush past without fully sitting with it. He said that black conservatives bother him specifically because of all groups in this country. They are the ones who have lived through what it actually means to be on the wrong side of power. They felt it. Their families felt it. And yet they aligned politically with the side that historically built those structures. Now, I am not here to tell anyone how to vote, but that observation is worth thinking about seriously. And then, this is where the liberal just completely changes the entire conversation. He explains that discrimination did not disappear. It evolved. What used to be written openly into law became embedded into policy. The drug war. Pulling funding from certain zip codes. Deregulating industries that employed specific communities. You keep the same outcome, but you remove the paper trail. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is documented legislative history that researchers and historians have studied for decades. And here's what people don't realize. The conservative in this conversation actually agrees that things have gotten worse. He said it himself. So now you have both sides agreeing the outcome is bad. The only disagreement is the cause. And when one side can point to specific policies with specific effects, and the other side just says people need to do better, that is not an equal argument. Then comes the line that just ends the whole blame conversation. The liberal compared asking what is wrong with black people for not overcoming these obstacles to asking what a wife did to deserve being treated badly by her husband. That reframe is sharp because it exposes the logic underneath the question, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Well, for one, I was born to upper middle class parents. I was born in Beverly Hills. I went to an incredibly good school district. I was able to get funding from my parents to help me with my education. I had contacts with
Why
my parents'
not recommend that for them instead of calling?
I don't know if I can recommend they get born to upper middle class parents, but
oh, you can't. You can't recommend that they, because most of the children, 70% of black babies born out of wedlock. Is that good for black people?
Oh no, not at all.
Does it hurt them?
Oh yeah.
In what way?
Oh, I mean, it's huge. If you're a single mother raising a kid, statistically more likely for them to commit one crime, for them to be locked up in jail, lower household income. Absolutely, it's
so
a huge
why
problem.
not recommend that they overcome that? Stop doing that.
I do, and I by the way, I vote for systemic changes that'll make it more likely for them to stop doing
What
that.
is a man?
I think a man is someone who identifies as one.
And what is a Nazi?
I would say that a Nazi is somebody who believes in white supremacy, who believes that an international cabal of Jewish people are using immigration from the third world to propagate sort of the destruction of the white race.
Are you white?
I am.
Are you Jewish?
I am not Jewish.
But you're
I've
white.
been told I'm Jewish.
And so are you a Nazi?
I am not a Nazi.
And what made you not? Why is it that you're not a Nazi? You're white and you live well, and you're doing well, you live in Beverly Hills.
And then he did something I genuinely did not expect. He turned the camera on himself. When asked how he is doing so well personally, the liberal did not dodge it. He did not get defensive. He just laid it out flat. Born to upper middle class parents. Beverly Hills. An excellent school district. Parents who could fund his education. A network of contacts already built before he even entered the real world. This is the part that makes everything click. Because he is not just making an abstract argument about policy or history, he is standing there as living proof of his own point. He had every structural advantage available to a person in this country, and he is honest enough to say it out loud. You have to understand how rare that is in a debate setting. Most people in his position would say something like, "I worked hard and made smart choices," and maybe that is true too. But he leads with the environment, he leads with the conditions, because he knows that is what made the difference. And here is what really hit me about this moment. He is not saying he did not work hard. He is saying that his hard work had a foundation under it, a safety net, resources. And when you ask why others are not achieving at the same rate, you have to be willing to ask whether they had the same foundation, not just the same effort, the same foundation. He even acknowledged the marriage and family structure point. He agreed that children raised in two-parent households statistically have better outcomes. He did not run from that data. But then he said something that most people skip over. He votes for the changes that make those outcomes more possible for more people. That is the whole argument in one sentence. Not just telling people to do better, building conditions where doing better is actually achievable. This conversation is a reminder that progress is not just about mindset, it is about what is underneath the mindset. And this liberal had the self-awareness to use his own life as the example. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.